Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Meeple. I was sent a prototype copy of Gladius by Cat Quartet Games to check out. Gladius is a bluffing deduction card game where you are betting on different gladiators that are competing in the gladiatorial games. You'll be using your cards to hinder or help gladiators that just might affect the outcome of each battle. Can you bluff or deduce enough information to plan the winning bet? That is the question. Setup is done differently in a 2-player game, but we will be focusing on a 3 to 5 player game during this video. Each player will have a power card, 20 influence cards, and 7 bet tokens. Players will then shuffle their influence cards together and draw 7 to keep in their hand to start the game. Placed out for everyone to see will be the podium cards, which will keep track of tokens used to bet on the battles. You will want your higher numbered tokens to land here on the first place podium, while also landing your death tokens along with other players' numbered tokens on the third place podium. Now at the end of the game, whoever scored the most points from tokens on these podiums will win the game. These cards here are the event cards, and each round a new event will be flipped out. It will guide you to know how many gladiators are flipped over for each team, and this will be a 1 versus 1 versus 1 battle or a 2 versus 2 versus 2 battle. Then at the bottom left, the event card will specify what skills are applicable to win this round's event. This can be one single skill or a combination of 2. Knowing what skills are required for the round, you can start to calculate the chances that each gladiator might have for winning that round. For example, in this event, Surviving the Lions, we will be using luck and fight for our combined skills. This gladiator here has 3, this one has 6, and this one has 0. Above each of these teams is one bet slot card where players can place their bets, with a maximum of 3 bets being placed on a gladiator or a gladiator team in each round. So to begin, each player will be taking turns placing 1 bet token on a slot on one of the bet slot cards. Tokens are placed face down and remain face down till the very end of the game. While doing it like this, you are very much encouraged to bluff. After players place 1 bet token, players will then take turns taking actions, and you have the choice of taking one of the following 3. You can play an influence card from your hand, and depending on the icons on the top right, you might be placing this card face up or face down. Face down cards are played directly underneath the gladiator to affect it somehow, and the player who played the card will know what the change might be, but the other players can kind of try to deduce if it might be a good or bad thing for that gladiator, trying to help them or hinder them. Face-up influence cards will resolve immediately and then be discarded, so you will know exactly what the intention of that player is. Another option is discarding a number of cards to activate your player power. Look at the top right of your player power card. It will tell you how many cards you need to discard to activate the listed power, and each character will have a different ability. Lastly, you can place a second bet token, but after you have placed your second bet token, you will not be able to take any more actions for the rest of the round, so no more placing cards. So make sure that you play some influence cards or perform your special action so that you can possibly change the outcomes to your favor before placing your second bet. Once all players have placed their second bet token, then the round will end, and whoever played their last bet token will then also become the new first player, receiving the first player token. The winning gladiator will then need to be determined. Flip over all face-down influence card and resolve them. Then calculate each gladiator's score according to the skill listed for that event. The gladiator or team with the highest score will be the winners, and the bet tokens placed above that team will be moved into the stack and placed on the podium in the slot indicated for that round. Tokens placed on second place will then be returned to the players, and the tokens used to bet on third place will be added to its slot for its card as well. Cleanup for the round will then occur, and you will discard all the used cards. Each player will then draw 2 more influence cards from their deck and add it to their hand. You will need to proceed and play 2 more rounds. After the third round, final scoring will occur. Flip over all the bet tokens on each podium card. On the first place card, you can remove any death tokens as they didn't score any points. Each regular bet token is worth the amount printed on it. On the third place podium card, each death token is worth 2 points, plus 1 point for each opponent's regular bet token for that round. You will then count up points for all 3 rounds, and the player with the most points becomes the winner of the game. As you can see, the game is all about what influence cards that you have and play, and where you play them, and what betting tokens that you use and where you place those. You can then try to deduce what type of card or betting token another player has played and try to either trick them into bidding on a gladiator that you sabotaged, or to try to bid on another gladiator and play cards to make them better to win the battle. At the beginning of the game, you have 2 death bet tokens and 5 other real betting tokens that have a value between 5 and 3. And the way that you use your tokens can also help others to deduce what you might have left and what you might be placing out there. The game tends to be really close, and so using a 3-bet token instead of a 5 could mean the difference between winning and losing the game. The cards are designed very well, as when played, you can do some huge damage to any of the skills on a gladiator, but you also might affect it by giving a gladiator a huge bonus that can also cause them to win the battle. You can even plan your cards so that when a player plays their second betting token, you can then place one last influence card down and change the outcome of the battle. The game is great because no one really knows who wins the battle until the round is over and cards are flipped over. Players all each have limited knowledge and will make choices on what limited knowledge they have. And remember, bluffing can be a huge part of the game as well. You gain only 2 cards each round, so if you used all your cards at the beginning rounds, then you will have less wiggle room in later rounds. But you will want to make sure that you play enough cards to change outcomes that other players don't really know what changes that you've made. Among the gameplay that includes deduction, bluffing, and betting, the art is attractive and also helps give the gameplay a feel of the theme, being a Roman spectator and betting on gladiators battling each other. Will your bets pay out big, or will you be tricked into making huge bets on another player's death bet? Let the games begin in Gladius by Cat Quartet Games.
Again, this is Boardgame Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.
Release the lions!